always jacked up when those lights come on. Anyways, welcome to the WK Burnout Studio. My name is Christina.
And I'm Dustin.
And Alan, behind the scenes, we're going to test his skills because he hasn't had to do the click, for our referencing notes for a while.
Yeah, which we don't have. This is all just memory.
Yeah. So anyways, Dustin.
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk about, a unique fact here. 78% of people buy a vehicle or are influenced by social media on a new or pre-owned car purchase.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people on it all day doing stuff.
And that is from individuals posting vehicles all the way to dealers, posting vehicles. So 78%.
Right.
So just think of 100 people, 78 of them buy because they saw something on.
Yeah, or it led them to
Facebook.
Get in that journey or whatever the case may be. Yeah. There's a lot of specifics you should know. There's also, when I really think about it, I got a lot of stuff to say on this because there's a lot of deals that you could miss out on because you're not prepared with the right kind of information. As a buyer to go through with it, you get scared because, different circumstances with the transaction. So we're going to go through some of those. Yeah. So
there's a lot of scams out there. And let's just talk about first, when you see, the vehicle inventory or information in your newsfeed, is it from an individual, posting that, or is it dealership, inventory? So today we wanted to go over the tips of when you find a vehicle through an individual,
right,
and how to trust it's not a scam, and just how to keep yourself safe and covered if you purchase that vehicle or if you decide to purchase that vehicle from an individual. So,
sure,
of course, we always want, you to give us the opportunity, but sometimes there's good deals out there. Not going to lie.
And sometimes it's just the one that you want. And, we're talking about all sorts of different ranges of vehicles, whether it's you buying a $38,000 family car or you buying, $1,500, $2,000, commuter cars, throwaway cars, kid cars, whatever the case may be. There's different things you need to keep in mind for both of those kinds of transactions. And there's some real big stuff that you need to make sure you cover yourself on with either one of those.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So first of all, where would you see these vehicles at? So obviously right now the big one is Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
You see people on there all the time. Craigslist. I mean, I don't know how long it's been since I've even looked on.
I haven't been on Craigslist in ages. Sorry, Craigslist.org. Nonprofit organization.
Yeah. Or maybe you heard it from a friend of a friend, or something.
Hey, Bob wants to sell his car. He's got a good old car, and get to talking to Bob, and next thing you know, neither of you know what you're doing. So you don't end up doing a car deal. But here we've got the tips that can make it so you and Bob together can figure this out.
Yes. But either way, no matter where you find it, always be sure to, if it's your friend of a friend, if it's on Facebook, if it's on Craigslist, look at the user's page.
Yeah, you should do that.
I don't care if it's an individual. If you see Johnny Jones selling a 1997, what do you have, Alan? Silverado. So if you see that, on there, just go on there and go ahead and click and just kind of take a peek,
Yeah.
And
I mean, you might find it's cool stuff with Facebook Marketplace. I mean, it's really easy to put something for sale on there. So there's some really dumb people that put stuff for sale. Like they'll put their truck for sale, and then you look at their profile, and like 3 weeks back, there's it stuck in a giant mud puddle, or it's smoking and on fire. It's like, had some problems with the truck, got her fixed though. It's like, come on, dude.
Right.
So really, you need to due diligence sometimes gets you really, really far with stuff on Facebook Marketplace because it doesn't take a rocket scientist. And sometimes you can pretty easily, 3 weeks ago, he's asking for rides because his truck's burnouts for sale,
Yes.
So there's, you can find that kind of stuff on there with just a little bit of footwork.
Absolutely. And just like with other features, you can see comments, you can see, like, ask them or look on there, like, where did they get their value? Kind of, if he's asking for his 1997 truck and he's asking $22,000 for it, where did they get the value from? And is he only been a member of Craigslist, whatever the case may be, for 2 months? Is this the first time he's sold something? Like, pay attention to that stuff.
And don't let stuff that you find on Marketplace set the market.
Right.
Because sometimes where they got their number is like Mars, because some of this stuff is so far off.
Right.
And you'll also find stuff that's so far off to the cheap because it's a scam. Usually find that out by trying to click on the user and look through, and then you'll see, hey, this guy's in Tibet.
Right.
He's listing a 97 Silverado,
Yeah.
out. Right. It's something, if it seems too good to be true, it is almost always.
Right.
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 But I probably, start off with a good example. You're buying from an individual. Let's say you're buying a cheap car.
Okay.
Right. So, guy on Facebook, Doug's got a car for sale for $2,000. Right. Okay. I'm going to get this car from this guy for $2,000. Couple of important things to ask. Sometimes it's in the description. This is a red flag description. Two kinds of red flag descriptions. One, doesn't have a title. Move on. It doesn't have a title. You don't want it unless you're just going to put it on the farm and drive it around the field.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's cool to do. Totally okay. Especially for like $500 to get a car to go drive around, jump terraces and stuff. That's fun. But you're not going to be able to get it registered, licensed, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So no title. Another one I see pretty often on the old Facebook is title has some issues, or like they'll have a title that they bought it from somebody. The person that sold it to them signed the back of it. They never signed the front, and it's been like 5 years. And they're just like, no, I'll just sell it to you. It's like they never existed, right?
Right.
They didn't sign. They didn't pay taxes on their purchase.
Right.
They haven't paid personal property tax on it for a few years. DMV sees that and says, ding, ding, ding. Guess what? This has been somebody's personal property for the last 5 years. We've got a gap here. Somebody's got to pay for that. Right. So don't fall. I mean, it's that might not sour the deal completely, but you got to have that in mind.
Right.
It's not like it used to be where you can just put $100 for the sale price on the title and have it open for 15 years till the next guy comes along. On some stuff they won't bat an eye, but on other stuff they're going to be like, hey man, this has to be. Yeah. There's a hole here. We got to figure this out. So that's one thing to kind of look out for, but it's not a deal breaker like a no title or what if they have a title and it isn't in their name and wasn't signed by the last person?
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nope. Yep.
They're out. Even if it's your, buddy's neighbor, you've dove into something there that is, you need to have the title, preferably in the person's name that's selling the vehicle, right? Yeah. If it's John Smith selling the vehicle, John Smith needs to be typed out on the front of that title.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for their ID, to verify. I mean, that is something. Definitely just go ahead. If you have made it to the point where you are face to face with the seller and you are interested in that vehicle, don't hesitate to say, hey, can I, take a look at your ID to make sure in the title, just to make sure. It's not like you're taking it. No, just right there. Just check it out. And someone who's legit and is okay with understanding will probably say, absolutely, here, just take a look.
And that's a pretty good point to walk away. If somebody doesn't want to give you the basics of showing you the title, if you're far away and you ask them, can I have a picture of the front and back of the title? And they're like, no, I don't do that. Well, I don't do business with you. You're setting yourself up for a world of hurt going into a situation where they're being really tight with their VIN number, right? That's a big red flag, right? They got a car listed. It's a 2009. It's a this, it's a that. And you ask them, can I get the VIN? Crickets. Yeah. Move on.
No, no response.
That's not your vehicle. It could be because it's salvage. Could be because it's, that got a lien on the title and they don't want you to find out about it. That's another thing. Even on these cheap cars, you need to look at the front of the title, Missouri specifically, front of that green title paper. It'll have a lien holder information line. And if there's a lien on the car, which means they borrowed money against it, the bank actually owns the car. They're paying the bank for payments for the car. If there's a lien on it, then you need to figure that out too. And that's not a deal breaker either. That's just something where then you have to kind of throw this other element in where I'm going to buy the car from you, but I'm not just going to give you the money. And then you say, I'll get you the lien release here in a couple of weeks or something.
Sure.
No, No, we're going to do the old meet up at your bank, whatever branch it may be. And we're going to do it like that.
Which that was something that we were talking about is what if I am interested in this vehicle and it has, a lien on it. Do you just write the check to the customer and, to the seller? But you had mentioned you can just say, hey, meet me at your bank.
Yeah, meet at the bank.
We'll get it all taken care of. And it's pretty common. I didn't realize how common it was to meet at the bank.
Right? In the parking lot of the bank, you do it all there. Sometimes I've seen scammers and just ignorant say, well, there's not a branch anywhere nearby. It's Ally. I don't have an Ally bank we can go to. Well, guess what? You can call them and sort that out. And it may come down to with that particular, whether it's a credit union or Ally or somewhere that's not convenient for you guys to meet at, it would be something where you can call them and just set up a wire transfer from your bank. Instead of a cashier's check, do a wire transfer straight to their account. They take it, pay it off, send the lien release then.
Got it.
So there's just some things you need to do to protect yourself. And one is make sure the title is accessible. In the state of Missouri, when you have a loan on something, they don't hold the title. Did they used to a long time ago?
Yes.
Banks would hold the title, right? You don't have your title. You have your title. It just has the lien holder printed on it now.
Right.
So just because they have the title doesn't mean it's a free title. Right. And keep that. People that haven't been buying stuff for the last 30 years might not know that even if you have a loan on it, you still have the title. I can still show it to you. I can sign it and give it to you and everything. It's still got a loan against it.
Right.
Right.
So there's other steps to do. So tell me this. Okay. So I've reached out to Doug and we talk about the title, and that it's a free and clear title, and I'm interested in the vehicle. So obviously you want to test drive that vehicle. So that is, even if you're buying from an individual, you want to test drive.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
So one thing that you want to do is you want to meet up in a place that is a public place, obviously.
Yeah.
So my thought is where you're probably going to want your mechanic to look at it anyways.
Bingo.
So if you talk to Doug and you say, hey, tomorrow about 2:15, let's meet up and meet me at WK. Let's just throw that out there. Well, go ahead. When you hang up the phone with Doug, call WK and say, hey, I'm looking at this pre-owned vehicle, buying from an individual. Can I bring it in and you guys do an inspection on it?
Okay. There's two parts to this. One, a Missouri state vehicle safety inspection is $12. They do not check if it's a good motor, if it has blown head gasket, if it they don't check any of that stuff. They check the safety items for the vehicle,
sure.
The steering, the brakes, the tires,
the horn,
I hear
the
turn
horns
signals,
all the time.
the lights, stuff like that. You've had it safety inspected. There are going to be a lot of big ticket items that come up in safety inspection, like ball joints, front end, suspension components, struts, things like that, right? Power steering rack leaks. Those can be really expensive, but those are things that get checked in a safety inspection. That's $12.
Okay.
Worth every penny. You should at least do that. Seriously. Any mechanic shop in Missouri, it's $12.
Got it.
Safety inspection.
And it's worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next level of an inspection would be like a car check. We call them here used car check. Right. That's going to be more. That'll be 100 something probably.
But it's a more in-depth.
But it's a more in-depth look.
Right.
They're figuring out, okay, it's got a miss on cylinder 6. It's got the coolant, looks milky, whatever. They check it more thoroughly for the functionality of things and just the overall vehicle, not just the bare basic safety components, right? So that doesn't include like diagnostics. If it's got a check engine light on, expect, if you want to know the real reason for that being on, that would probably be outside of even a basic used car check for them to diagnose that and figure out what the repair would be. So just be prepared for that. There's going to be a little cost, at least $12 or more for the next level of inspection and so on and so forth. But the basic is to get that safety inspection done, because if you buy a car from an individual, when you go to get it licensed, you'll have to have a safety inspection.
Yes.
You go to get that after you've bought it from an individual without having that stuff checked first. You can't register your car until you get that stuff fixed.
Right. And
that's on you.
That's
you can't
on
go back to the seller and be like, hey, the ball joints are bad. Be like, dude, you test drove the car. That's how buying from an individual works.
Right.
And buying from a dealership is completely different. We're not allowed to sell you one without a state vehicle inspection pass. Right.
Right.
So it's different like that. And that's something major you need to keep in mind. And something really strongly to consider is getting at least that safety inspection done prior to committing yourself to purchasing it. So you met him at the dealership to get the safety inspection, but also that's when you're going to do your own inspection of the car to make sure that it's right for you.
Right. I mean, and walk around the vehicle, walk around the exterior, I mean, look at the tire, do it just like if you were coming into the dealership, like do it all. And then test drive the vehicle, bring it in. So you come back for your appointment so you can get the inspection done, and then ask for the Carfax report. As a seller, you probably you don't have to provide that, but
you don't have to.
No,
but you'll have a lot better luck selling stuff as a seller if you have one.
Right.
And as a buyer, that's just right there with getting a safety inspection done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you can see maintenance history, you can see registration history.
You can see the estimated value.
You can see the estimated retail and wholesale value of the vehicle. You can also see, salvage,
title,
fire, flood, stuff like that. There are some things that, I get it, price, money talks, and sometimes you don't care that it's a salvage vehicle or something like that. That's fine.
But you know what you're getting into.
But you need to know what you're getting into before you commit fully to anything. And a Carfax helps a lot with that.
So brings us back to, so this is the perfect vehicle. It passes, you dug, I want to buy this, whatever it is for there you go. For $2,000, my mechanic took a look at it, and it seems everything's good. You have a clean title, no liens, on it or anything. So next step is give the man the money and make sure not only you go ahead and pay him, but you have to sign the title.
He has to sign the title.
He has to sign the title. Yeah. And then a buyer's order.
Yeah, it's called a Mo bill of sale.
Bill of sale, not buyer's order.
You'll go on Google, type in Mo, Missouri bill of sale. I think it's form 1475. Is that it?
It's on.
It's the only one that comes up there, and it's got two sides: one for seller, one for purchaser, and then a thing in the middle for vehicle information. And you both sign at the bottom.
Yep.
And the point of this is to have extra documentation that shows who sold it, who's buying it, the vehicle with the vehicle identification number, and the purchase price.
Yep.
Right. So the seller will want that if they want to get their sales tax credit on the next vehicle they buy. That little piece of paper is the only key and the only thing you need to get thousands of dollars in sales tax credit potentially on your next purchase within 180 days. So you'll want to have that if you're selling for sure. And you'll want to have that if you're the buyer, because that's extra documentation for when you're on your way to get your temp tag at the DMV.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But before you even head to the DMV, you have to have insurance.
Yeah. But there is you need to talk to your insurance agent. They're the real professional on this. They'll tell you, well, you got full coverage on 3 vehicles. You can drive this one that you've legally bought without whatever. Do what they say. And it will probably be, hey, at least let's go ahead and get insurance on it before you even drive it off the parking lot.
Right.
And that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But once you have that in hand, the insurance, the bill of sale, and the title,
head to the DMV and get your temp tag.
Go get your temp tag.
Yep. Perfect.
So that was easy.
That one was easy.
That one went great.
Yeah. Now, kind of what you went over, a little bit in the beginning is, well, what if it has a lien on it?
Yeah. What if they have a loan on it? I owe $15,000 on it. I got to sell it for 12. Okay.
Yeah.
This happens, and this happens on car. This can be, your dream Camaro or something that's just what you want. And this guy needs to get it moved, and the deal's good. You've looked at the Carfax, you looked at the stuff. But how do I do this if he owes 18 and I'm giving him 15 for it?
Right.
What do we do? Do I just give him $15,000 and then he'll send me the title later or something? No, don't do that. This is the guy you got to meet up at his bank.
Yes.
You got to meet up at this person's bank.
Yep.
You're going to give the 15. He's going to have to give the rest right then.
Yep.
To the teller at the bank so that they can then release the lien on the car and give you the title and the lien release.
For it to be legally yours.
You've bought the car. Yes. You still only paid 15 for it. He was upside down. He had inequity. So he had to make up that difference.
Right.
And you'll run into people that don't understand that. And they're the ones that own the car and are selling it.
Yeah.
So at that point, if they're like, well, I don't have the other $3,000 right now, bye.
Yeah.
You're out. That's a red flag. No go.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but you'll find people that are just a little don't really know how it works. You know, they think the bank will just keep that $3,000 loan and they'll keep paying that part. No, man.
No, that's not how it goes. Yeah.
That's not how it works.
No.
I mean, and that person may be able to go get a payday loan or something, or get a personal loan, but
that's
not, on them. And that's something they need to figure out before you're sitting at their bank with them trying to get the title to the car you want to buy.
Right. Yeah. And same thing, you know, meet the customer, the seller at the, you know, at their bank. If it's not a local bank, if you have to drive to Jeff City, you know, just find out where the closest is.
You might have to drive to more metro area.
It's worth it. Just do it.
It's worth it. Yeah.
You're still going to have, and you know, the insurance. You're still going to have, you know, the information that you get from the bank that the loan is paid in full. So the lien release. So you'll have to have that information for when you go title the vehicle. Do not wait for that. Do not rely on the seller to say, I'll get that to you. Just go ahead and make those steps to cover your bacon. And,
you got to
do that.
Protect yourself in this day and age. I mean, I can think of 4 or 5 times back in the day when I had a loan on something. I sold it to somebody. I let them take signed title, a bill of sale, and the car that night. And I took their money and I went to my bank the next day, deposited it, got the lien release, put it in the mail and sent it to them. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm not going to. I did that.
Right. Doesn't mean everybody else plays by the rules.
Doesn't mean everybody else would do that. It's pretty easy not to do that at that point. So if you've got a situation with a trust, if you're buying something from me, it's okay to do that then. But you got to have a pretty trusted individual. It's a possibility, but it would not be my first, and it would not be a route I'd go with a stranger. Right. Honestly, it can be, but you know, if that is the case, then I mean, you get a picture of them with their ID and holding today's newspaper and get everything that you can possibly get. And a signed Missouri bill of sale, signed title, you know, that stuff, and the car. Then I guess you've probably got enough to be somewhat confident in letting it roll. But that's all kind of gray area stuff. But people work it out every day, and you know, that's how they would do it in that case. If they couldn't meet at the local branch, if they couldn't meet at a branch an hour away, you know, there's ways to figure it out and it's still not be a deal breaker.
Sure. Okay. Sure. So just because you don't buy at a dealership does not mean that it's not able to be done. It's just be careful for some things. And that's hopefully what we've kind of gone over, you know, today. Just make sure that you're careful. Yeah. You know, search the seller, make sure the seller has good reviews. If there's anything negative, are they just starting selling, or, you know, is this their first? And who knows, it could be perfect on their, you know, they're just trying to sell it because they don't use the vehicle anymore.
We're moving out of state and don't need this one anymore. Just trying to sell it real fast ourselves, yada, yada. And
there are steps to just watch yourself. Yeah.
In the private party market like that, they don't always know everything they need to know to complete the transaction as a seller. So it's important that you, as the buyer, if you want everything to work out right, not have any pains, then you need to know kind of both ends of the stuff. Sometimes you'll have to guide them a little bit. Yep. You'll be the one bringing the bill of sale for their sake, right? Hugely for their sake. Yeah. But you'll be the one bringing it. You want to be prepared with that stuff, and that helps both parties. But it can give you a whole lot more confidence in what you're doing whenever you do watch this video first and, make sure that you have some of these ducks in a row before you go into it. Don't expect them to know what they're supposed to be doing either.
Yep. So kind of a summary, meet somewhere public.
Yeah, you should always do that.
Make sure the vehicle, you know, pay to have your mechanic, you know, take a look at it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And like I said, I mean, safety inspection, $12, any shop. Okay. That doesn't cover the radio, the window motors, stuff like that. That just does safety components. Right. But at the very least, you should do that. The next step, good used car check. Yep. You're paying a little bit more money, but you're getting more peace of mind. You know, if you're buying a $80,000 used Porsche, you might get a used car check plus where they check even more stuff on it. Right. That's normal and really highly recommended on Highline stuff too. Sure. Don't just trust that everything's fine with it. It could have been a lemon buyback. You need your Carfax. You need your inspection. You need your stuff checked out first. Yep. Stuff that you kind of take for granted at the dealership because we do all that stuff, but the individual needs to go through the same kind of checks to protect themselves.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask for their ID to see the title name, ID name, make sure it's okay. And do your walk around, take it for a test drive, make sure that you turn on your heat, turn on your air, like everything that you can think of. Make sure you do it. Get a Carfax report so you can check your history. Ooh. You love the vehicle.
Yes.
Pay the man, title, bill of sale, insurance, head to the DMV.
One other thing that you can do is a title lookup. You can call the DMV for this.
Okay.
So I painted a scary picture of Bob that had a car. He lost the title to it or thought he lost it, sent off, got a new title. Then he found the old title. Bob has 2 titles now. On the new title, he got a title loan. So the Title Max has his title for this car, but he has that old title still that shows free and clear. Mm-hmm. Goes to sell you the car with a title loan on it. This old title, it's now void. No, it's not marked because he lost it. Mm-hmm. I know it's a long story, but it all comes around to you buying a car with your hard-earned money that you cannot do anything with because it has a loan for the same amount from the title loan place. So the way to cover yourself on that, call the DMV with the VIN number. They'll do a state title lookup where it lists any liens that are on the vehicle and the current owners of them too. So even if you're a little edgy about if it's really their car, if they couldn't provide photo ID or something, all right, call the DMV, get a title lookup so they can tell you if it's registered to that person, was the last person registering it, and if it has any liens or not.
Okay.
So that's just one extra layer of protection.
Okay. So that's public information to be able to know that. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Because people apply for lost title all the time. Yeah. 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 And then they find the old one usually too.
So that's why I say I know you're looking at the piece of paper and it says no lien, but it's not impossible to have a title with a lien and then this old void title that doesn't actually show anything. So when you're in the world of $1,500, $2,000 cars, that's a cool place to live, but don't put it past anybody to do some finagling to try and make things work out in their favor. Sure. Or
and then all of a sudden you try to call and their phone number is disconnected and all the fun stuff. Anyways, what we're trying to say is, yes, you can purchase from an individual, cover your bacon. Yeah. But buying from an individual isn't always easy.
No, it can be difficult. It can be worth it, but just make sure you follow the steps and do things right. Use your head and even though they're the seller and you're the buyer, know their part too. Right. So that you can educate them and do it properly. Yep. I think that's really important.
Perfect. Well, guys, if you found this informative and entertaining, which I hope you did.
Oh, yeah.
Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will cruise on by and pick you up next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
This has been a WK Burnouts production.